We've come here for questions. There are 5 questions. The first one is, should animals have rights? And by rights we mean right to freedom, right to live, right to have its own life, right to eat, and right to proper habitat.
I think you've answered my questions already.
So, should they have it?
Yes, absolutely they should have rights.
Why?
Because they're part of the earth ecosystem, and animals have feelings. They feel pain and they feel loneliness. So I think animals should be given the right treatment.
Second question is, do animals have equal rights as humans?
Not necessarily. I think it should be extended to that level, because humans have a different level of thinking and a different understanding. What I think should happen is that the humans should take the responsibility of caring for the animals.
Okay. Why do people test things on animals? Why do people test things on animals?
Well, that is a contentious issue these days, because a lot of people think that's wrong to do now, and some people think it's right, simply because to continue to better the human race, they need to test it on certain animals to see if that reaction would happen, opposed to doing it on a human being. Is it right? Probably not. Is it necessary? Unless there's an alternative, it may be necessary for the future of the existence of the human race.
So after we were when we were inquiring, we saw that people generally do it on mice and rats. So what does people, it does not inside the system, it does not match with mice though. Why don't they do it on chimpanzees? Because they are almost the same. They have the same system as us.
That's a very good question, and the answer is probably because of that reason, that they are too similar to us, and they're on the ecosystem. They're probably at a higher order of animal thinking. Rats and mice have their generic structure changes very quickly, and so that they can react to some of the experiments, and the results are done a lot quicker than if it was on other animals. Plus, I believe that the experiments that are done on the rats and the mice are not necessarily done to harm them, but it's to see the effects. Now, those effects could harm them, but it's probably seen on a scientific level that it's probably far better to do that on a mice or a rat than to do it on other animals that may not necessarily be as quickly populating as mice and rats do.
The fourth question is, should animal testing be allowed or not?
I believe we have to look for alternatives, but until we find a satisfactory alternative, then I'm not opposed to taking animals or using animals to test for scientific progress, as long as the animal is not put in a position where it's humane, or it's put in a position of stress or distress or cruelty.
But after researching, we see that they are, after a test, when the reaction is not like the doctor wants, they kill the animals.
As I said, unless there's an alternate, a better alternate that's going to give results, and we're probably progressing that way now through generic chemistry and the physics development, we're able to look at certain things now, and we can actually manufacture cultures that we can inject the test into to see the end result. And so I think we are slowly moving away from testing animals.
So you mean to say that people are making some kind of machine which will, do the test?
They're making what we call synthetic cultures that duplicate the structure of the human DNA, and so we can then inject the tests into these synthetically produced cultures that will give us the results that we're trying to see what we'd normally do on animals. And so it's moving away from animals more and more now.
Right.
But we're not there yet.
Okay. And the last question is, what do you think people test on animals? What things?
What
things people test on animals?
That is good or bad?
Things that are tested on animals, such as example health products, etc.
Yes, well, I don't think we need to use animals for cosmetic research. I don't think we need to use animals for genetic restructuring or mutation. I think we need to, if need be, if we have to use an animal, I think it should be only used as a necessity that will change the course of the medical advancement for the human race.
Okay.
Which then will also help change the other flow-on effects, being the animal world.
Thank you.
Thank you. Some very difficult questions. A bit soul-searching actually, because they're hard to... We know what's right, and we don't want any animal really tested, but we also know that the reality is, if we're going to progress, we may have to make those awful decisions. Hopefully the future will have a new process, like I was saying, synthetic testing.
Right.
Until then, we still got to strive to make sure animals are not treated badly.
Okay.
Thank you.